Alright, for this episode of Not Working, I'm going to go into a couple of the systems I made for Thaumaturgy that just, well, didn't work out. So, let me see here. I have circuit cube mover. When I first made this map, I wanted to have the circuit cube be driven directly by the prop weighted cube. And well, in the end, that's what I wound up with. What I had in mind initially was slightly different. And let's see here. Bring this up. Oh, I apparently have the old system in. No, I deleted the old system. So, my original system for this was just a series of triggers. So let me see here. Ooh, button system. Good, that's still there. Let me do a quick reconstruction of the system here, since I apparently did not save it, but kept the viz group. I need a prop cube. Oh, what am I doing? Cube. Prop weighted cube. So the original system was set up as such, or like so, whichever one you prefer. I had a trigger for detecting which side was the active face. And another set for which one was the top. So we have the active face trigger here, and then the active top trigger here. And these would be set off by brushes parented to the cube. So that would be the active face, and this would be the active top. So when you'd rotate this around, you'd change which one was active. Actually, I think I might still have a copy of the map with the old working system. So give me a moment to scope this out. 41. Let me see here. Might have it as a BSP. Old compiled version. It's a little disappointing that I didn't save it, but at the same time it didn't work, so I didn't really want it. This is a second old system, which I will get into shortly, that frankly gave me motion sickness. Frankly, that really gave me motion sickness when I used it. I'll get into that if I can't find the second one here, or the first one. Anyways, in the first iteration of my cube system, I used a Funk tank to choose which side to face. But the problem was that Funk tanks don't move fluidly in 360 degrees on all axes, because it'll come up to, let's say, the top and then spin on the z-axis when you're trying to go all the way around on the x, and that creates a twisting motion that you don't want, instead of just fluidly moving back. Okay. 42001. So this might have the system that I first started off with. I forked it a while back in development to make things a little easier. Oh, yes, it is still present, so I'm going to show triggers here. Now this is what I'm talking about. all these triggers all the way around for each side, each face, and such. And if you go into here, you turn on sheets, go to no clip. So this long rectangular piece is the top chooser. It spins around to the correct position, or supposedly correct position, as which designates the top, and that is accomplished by using a momentary rotating button and using the set position input to 0, 0.25, 0.5, 0.75. This other brush here that has been tapered at the front is the funk tank, which rotates around. So let me go ahead and stick this in. And kind of see how that works. If you go down below, I have this funk train that moves the cube back and forth. So it'll move out, rotate around, then move back in. And by moving back in, it will throw it into this trigger here that hides the corresponding wall. So let me kind of rotate this around to give it a better spin to show. So as you see, it's moving about and changing faces. There are several there are 6 info targets corresponding to each face: top, bottom, north, south, east, and west. So that's what the funk tank would point to. So I put the cube in, the face trigger says face this direction and go. And that worked out okay. Go to hide the triggers. Turn off no clip. But let me go ahead and spin this about. So that way it works. Let me grab this cube over here so I can better flip this. If you get it too many spins, you can see that's not reflective of how it initially how I spun the cube, and that was one issue that I didn't like. I just kept doing that. No matter how I oriented the cube, I would align them all up so you essentially have rings. So all triggers right along this slice say the same top. Same with here along this slice. So let's say this slice is 0, this top slice here is 0.25, this one 0.5, and then this bottom one here 0.75, and looping all around on all 6 sides. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't quite work right when you line it up and move it about. So I had to think of something else to do it. So I decided to split off and use this monstrosity you see here. So now I need to see if it's still hooked in. Get rid of these. Actually, I'll just reopen the map. If hammer doesn't crash on me. Oh, as you saw right there, I still have the old VMFs saved as back files for each stage in my development. I completely forgot about those. Brace yourself for a little crackling. I'm going to check the time on here. At 9:16 and counting. Alright. Do not save changes. Reopen the map. Come on, hammer. Oh. Alright, so let's hide the old system, disable that, put in the broken button system, and let's check my I/O. Okay, let's see, all I did was, I don't remember. Too many checkboxes being clicked. Okay, so disable those two, enable this one, and I should have it in here. Alright, so before I get into this, as you can see there is, well, there are handrails all the way around except for here. Now the handrail models don't quite line up because they aren't as wide as they should be to match up. Well, the corners aren't, at least. You would expect the corners to be 32 by 32, but they're not. So you have this gap when you use them, which means you have off-size handrails that don't match your geometry. Anyways, the idea with this one was that the player would walk up into here. Their view would be split between the view and collision would be split. So the collision would occur in here, but their view would be from here. And now you may be wondering why I have a whole bunch of arrows in here and a whole bunch of arrows in here when you can't see the arrows out here. This is because the collision is out here, so any user input, any use commands from player input, go to here instead of inside the cube. So I had these in here with the arrows in place because this is where I started off, then I cloned them and put them into the circuit cube to make it work visually, while keeping these here so they would find the inputs and work with them. And I came across a couple problems. First, if I were to take a cube, oh, it saved it, didn't it? Yep. And rotate it around. Let's say I wanted to rotate it to the left on the z-axis, so it'd do this. That would work alright, and you do it again, and that's okay. But if I were to rotate it here once and rotate it here again, if I were to give it the rotate left command again, it would instead rotate this way or this way. It wouldn't rotate on the right axis. It would rotate locally, not globally, and I couldn't figure out how to change that. So let me give you a demonstration of how it was supposed to work and hopefully trigger the bug, which isn't really hard. If you rotate anything on any axis 180 degrees, you effectively flip the third axis, whichever that may be. So that changes how everything rotates locally, and well, globally, I guess. Well, not globally, actually, locally. The local axes are switched, so things have issue. Okay, so that didn't crashed, or sorry, it didn't crash, but it just didn't load. So I'll manually refresh it instead of reloading. Because reloading only works if you don't change the autosave file, it seems, or make your own saves, whichever one is most recent. Let's see if it's hooked up. Okay, so I'll back out. So you walk into here and haven't hit the trigger just yet, so that way you can see all the buttons in place. Then I'll walk a little further and transition inside the cube. I'll hit this one, it spins right. Hit this one. There it goes. You expected it to spin down towards you, and it didn't do that because it's already flipped. And now it's all off. And you can kind of see how this would give you motion sickness. So I tried to alleviate this problem by parenting the buttons to the respective axes. So So if I go over here, you'll find 4 little cubes. Let's get this out of the way. So if I were to press this one, you can see 3 of them move. At any given time. So what's going on here is one of these is the driver cube. It receives all input to spin around. And from there, that is translated through logic measure movement to the circuit cube and also to the buttons. That was the initial setup, and that was a problem. So when I wanted to split it off, I set up 3 more brush cubes to do the XY, the YZ, and the XZ axes. So when I'd spin on the X-axis, 3 cubes would spin, the XZ, the XY, and then the XYZ, the master cube that drives the circuit cube. And as you can see, that didn't work. It still just doesn't quite do what I want it to. I mean, it looks cool, but it's not functional. And in fact, one of these isn't working, isn't rotating right. So as cool as it was, yeah, not gonna happen. Which then, brought me to trying to debug it. As you can see here, I have all the angles. I didn't really specify what the desired angle was per axis. So it doesn't quite make sense to you, and frankly to me either, because I'm indiscriminately choosing axes to go. But actually, if you look here, like desired angle -176 and -176 here, that's pretty much what I wanted to do. Just show me what I wanted versus what I got, because in some cases I would add 90 degrees and it would bounce back to -90 degrees plus 1 equals 89, and 89 plus 1 equals 90, and be bouncing back and forth like that and jittering around. And I changed the way I added things, so it's not going to work. In fact, let me show you the source code. If I can find it. Don't know if that'll work or not. I suppose not. So I'm gonna have to go navigate to it manually. And hope that I don't crash something. Recording the desktop turns off some things, and I'm using up resources with the game running in the background while I'm recording the desktop. I'm kind of stressing things out here. Scripts. Oh, vscripts. Me. So here we have angle transfer.nut. So here's how it works. The function add x degrees, or add degrees to x, or to y, or to z, means you pass it the number of degrees you want it to move. And then you get the current angles, and your new angle is going to be that old angle's affected axis plus the degrees you want to add. And then I print off the desired angle to the desktop, or to the console, excuse me, and then I set the angles to what it should be. Then I print the angles and see if they line up. So, pretty simple. I also add and subtract angles, reset angles. That was just so I could make sense of it when I got into like 1000 degrees by spamming the button. So that's really all there is to it. I'll go ahead and open up the temp file. Access my playground. And show you what happens if I go directly to the model. So if you read the blog entry I made on Thaumaturgy, you'll notice that, oh sorry, brace for crackling. 21 minutes. Application running. Yes, I'm aware of application running. Anyways, if you read my blog on it, I wrote all this down, so this is pretty much a video recap with some examples of what I mean. So, oh right, I need to have it run script code. Ah, right. Another thing, this timer here, it constantly tells it to transfer angles at 0.04 seconds. That was the refire time that made the transfer smooth instead of choppy. Because if I used a let's see, I'm smart edit and script think function. If I use that executes every, I think, 100 milliseconds or so, about 10th of a second. And that was rather choppy, and the granularity in there, not granularity, I think that was the right word, it just wasn't working out. So I gradually lowered the numbers by ever decreasing amounts to try and make it smoother. And 0.04 was the smoothest I could get. I could go lower, but at 60 FPS you don't really see it. Or at least I don't really see it. Reload should work here. Let's see. Nope. Ooh. Killed the cube. So let me add the parent name back in. Need to anchor it in place so that way it'll actually do what I want it to. So let's see here. No! It isn't working! So as you can see, this was not the smoothest of operations, even while I was developing it. And even now, I can't get it to work. Hang on. Yeah. Transfer angles, propagate a cube. Angle transfer. Angle transfer. Source cube. Oh. Yeah. Alright, so I need to figure out how to make this work again. So please bear with me, I am a little out of it, or out of practice on this particular usage. A little note here, thing function transfer angles. 1 and 2, angle transfer, input, run script code on timer. Let me check the I/O here. Ah, that's why. I wasn't firing the timer. Okay. Transfer timer. Enable. Okay. So, I'm going to remove the script code from this. I don't want it to do anything. I just want it to help suspend the cube in the air. Enable, turn off developer. Oh, there we go. So going to model works perfectly, as you can see. Oh. But, I'll put this back, remove it from here, remove the output from this, compile. If I go model to brush, ooh! Things don't work out so well. Or didn't. There was an update to Portal 2 prior to this video, so maybe something was fixed. So I haven't done this since. Yeah, it's not exhibiting the same behavior anymore. So maybe something was fixed. Yeah. Anyways, it's just another one of those axes flipped again, so. In here, apparently it is working just fine. So not much of a not working video, more of the examples I wanted to show not working versus the examples of not working. Yeah. So, until next time then. Where's the stop button on this?